Welcome to today's edition of the Statler Financial Radio Show. Your financial security is our business. Have a question for the team? Call today, 863-877-1188. That's 863-877-1188.
Welcome to the Statler Financial Radio Show. I'm Stephanie Griffin, and I am with President and founder of Statler Financial Services, Phillip Statler. Hello, Phillip. Good morning.
Good to be here. It is, it's the time that we look at some financial literacy, I think, today, Stephanie, to see kind of how we can get people a little bit more literate when it comes to their finances and financial terms and those type of things.
Yeah, and definitely need to get some more education when it comes to literacy. Most Americans between the ages of 50 and 75 scored low marks when it comes to retirement income literacy quiz, according to the American College of Financial Services. So, Phillip, as we get into this today, here are a couple of big takeaways, and I'd love your thoughts on this. Men scored higher than women. And another fact, Americans with more than 1.5 million in savings scored twice as high as those with less than 100,000 saved.
Well, let's look at that for a minute. Let's look at the first one. Men scored higher than women. Mm-hmm. And I just know from my experience, meeting with couples over the, 20, 25 years that I've been doing this, that it tends to be true. And that is because I think that the men take more of an interest in it. And
I believe you're right. I really do.
Women are busy doing other things, right? And so this is the least of their worries. Now, I will say, though, that the women that it's important to, man, they have got it dialed in for sure. And so that's one of those things when we have the husband passes away, we have some education to do to bring the wife up to speed and so that she really understands and starts to grasp some of the concepts that we're dealing with. The other one you mentioned, I kind of get that one too, right? Because those that have more, they have more for a reason. One is that usually they pay more attention to it. They're big savers. Mm-hmm. And so they see that as a mission of theirs is to put money away, to save. And they're always trying to figure out how they can make more. And so that kind of makes some sense to me.
They want to stay on top of it, I guess, don't they?
Exactly.
What topics do you find most people struggling with when you're helping them plan for retirement?
I think one of the things that I see is that changing gears. And what I mean by that is that folks that are working, they're just focused on putting more away and making as most as they can on what they put away. And when they head into retirement, they forget to shift gears because now we're not in the same situation. We don't have a monthly paycheck coming in. And so now our portfolio really takes on more responsibility. In other words, we can't afford big, huge market downturns that we've seen in markets past. And so that's a switch that needs to happen, but I don't see that taking place very often.
Right. Well, you are listening to the Statler Financial Radio Show with Phillip Statler, and we'd love you to give us a call at Statler Financial, 863-877-1188. That number again is 863-877-1188. And we've been talking about how women tend to score a little lower than men when it comes to financial literacy. How could we help women gain more knowledge and confidence when it comes to retirement, Phillip?
Well, I think that a lot of it is trying to make things more understandable, mm-hmm. which sometimes in itself can be difficult, right? Because we're not just talking about investments. We're talking about income strategies. We're talking about what can we do to put together that income plan. We talk about taxes. So there's a lot of moving parts. But I think the process is to really, I try to key off their expressions and see if I am making sense to them and ask questions to see and make sure that they're understanding the process that we're walking through.
Question for you. With more women living longer, Philip, are you finding women more prepared or unprepared for taking the lead on their household finances if their husband passes away?
I haven't seen much change there, Stephanie, over the years. A lot of times we still don't see wives prepared for taking over the finances. I mean, the general finances, yes, because a lot of them are the ones that still pay the bills, but they're not the ones that have the interest in the investments and financial planning and those aspects of it. And so we have to bring them up to speed. And a lot of times, it's a trust issue, right? They've got to trust the person they're dealing with, that person is going to take care of them and do really what's in their best interest. And so that goes to the fact that that's one reason that, at Statler Financial, we are fiduciaries to our clients, meaning we have to do what's in their best interest. And so one of the things that we did a couple of years ago is create our core retirement design. And that core retirement design really emphasizes three real big segments. One is risk in a portfolio, two is taxes, and three is income. All three of those things are vitally important when we head into retirement. And so it's a simple process we go through. It starts with a phone call where you and I have a conversation about where you are now, where you want to be, and how we're going to get you there. Give us a call to schedule your 30-minute time with us, 863-877-1188. That's 863-877-1188. Or you can text the word visit to that same number, 863-877-1188.
We are talking about financial literacy today on the Statler Financial Radio Show. And American College of Financial Services, they did a literacy survey. And when you read through the findings of the study, people over the age of 65 had a 56% literacy rate on Medicare specific questions, which was higher than 34% scored by those under 65. That seems like a positive trend for people who are impacted by Medicare decisions. Don't you think, Phillip?
I do. And let's face it, Stephanie, when you're impacted by Medicare, you're going to start to learn what that means and what the options are and how is that going to affect you in retirement. Because Medicare is a big choice. It's a big decision. And I know, I've walked my clients through it. I've walked my wife through it, making those choices. When it comes to Medicare, do I do a Medicare Advantage plan? Do I do a good old-fashioned Medicare supplement? What things do I do? Then you got the whole Medicare Part D, which is a prescription plan. How do I make those choices? Man, there is a lot of stuff to know when it comes to Medicare and Medicare Part D. And I encourage folks to really dig in and start that process but way before they're 65. 63, 64 is not too early to start at least familiarizing yourself with some of the things that are going to come at you when it's Medicare decision time.
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to get behind in that. You need to call Phillip and his team at Statler Financial at 863-877-1188. That number again is 863-877-1188. Phillip, so what steps do you recommend we take to help improve our financial literacy so we can get a better manage on our assets?
Well, I think there's a couple things you can do. Obviously, any kind of educational class that you can take, from that standpoint to help get better educated on financial planning. Retirement planning actually is more important than just overall financial planning. At that stage, it's more about retirement and income planning. Find some good books on retirement planning and investments so that you have at least some understanding of how those things work. And I think that would put you in a good spot to help with that process of going through making those choices when it comes to retirement planning. Now, let's face it, you probably get bombarded in the mail from all kinds of financial people and insurance people trying to get you to go to dinner seminars and and trying to send you white papers and those type of things. And there's not bad information in there. There's some good information, but just remember, it's going to be skewed on whatever facts and circumstances they want you to believe about whatever they're presenting.
So we only have about a minute left, but this kind of surprised me. Analysts say that really the needle hasn't changed when it comes to older Americans increasing their financial literacy. Why do you think it's important for us to talk to a financial person? Why is that important?
Well, I think that it's important because, a lot of times when you've been investing like in a 401k or a 403b, it's you've set it and forget it. You're just making that contribution all the time. You're not relying on that for income. It's just there for retirement. And so I think that what happens is, we kind of continue that mindset. Maybe you're fortunate enough that you got a pension and Social Security and that you don't really need the income, but yet you've left the investment in growth mode. And that's probably not going to be the best thing because now you may need it. And then there's the required minimum distributions that start to kick in at various ages. There's charitable opportunities out there that folks can use their IRAs for charitable donations if you are within a certain age limit. So there's all kinds of avenues and things that you can do and tools at your fingertips, but you've got to know what those tools are. And I think that's where the financial advisor comes in, the retirement advisor like us, comes into play, is because we understand how all those pieces work together and can help put together that plan that's going to get you not just into retirement, but all the way through retirement.
You definitely have more knowledge than somebody like me, for sure. Go ahead and finish your thought, Phillip.
Well, I was just going to say, and that's why I really worked hard in developing our core retirement design. I really want to help folks put the pieces together and design that retirement they always dreamed of. That's the one thing I think that, retirement is meant to be enjoyed, and you got to have a plan in place to be able to enjoy that retirement. I'd love to sit down with folks and walk through our process of our core retirement design, looking at the three key aspects, the risk in their current portfolio, making sure that the risk they have really and truly lines up with where it should be. For example, the other day, I met with a couple and they want to retire relatively young. But the risk in their portfolio was, in the high 70s, low 80s, and heading into retirement. If they want to retire in the next 3 to 4 years, well, we need to make sure that we don't get hit with some 2008 bear market right at the time they want to retire. So things have to be changed as we get ready to head into retirement. That's what our core retirement risk analysis really does. And then taxes are a big deal. And we want to take the opportunity to pay the least amount we can over your lifetime. And lastly, income planning. We want to make sure we've got an income plan in place that's going to provide you the income you're going to need, not just today and tomorrow, but throughout your retirement years. Give us a call at 863-877-1188. That's 863-877-1188 to get started with your core retirement analysis.
This is the Statler Financial Radio Show, and we will be right back. Turn your plans of yesterday into yes today. Don't wait another day for a routine checkup of your retirement plans. Call Statler Financial Services, 863-285-3815. That's 863-285-3815.
Surprise parties can be fun.
Surprise!
Financial surprises, not so much, especially when you're retired, like finding out you owe more in taxes than you thought you would, or having to go back to work to make ends meet. Maybe you'll be okay, but why not double check just to be sure? Call Phillip Statler at Statler Financial Services and schedule a no-cost retirement double check at 863-877-1188. Phillip and his team have seen their fair share of surprises over the years and know how to help you avoid them. Call 863-877-1188 to schedule your no-cost retirement double check with Phillip Statler at Statler Financial Services. Don't let a financial surprise derail your retirement dreams. Call 863-877-1188 now. That's 863-877-1188. You can also visit statlerfinancial.com for more info. Advisory services are offered through Second Half Financial Partners, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Time to retire right. This is the Statler Financial Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Statler Financial Radio Show with Phillip Statler. He is the president and founder of Statler Financial Services. We are so glad you're listening today. Some people spend decades diligently saving for retirement, watching their 401ks and IRAs grow. But here's an important question a lot of people fail to ask. How much of that money will I actually get to keep after taxes? Phillip, so why are tax strategies crucial yet often overlooked in retirement preparation?
Well, one of the things is that we're focused on retirement, right? We're focused on having fun and making that next step in our life, and we don't think about taxes. They just have focused on building up the nest egg, and a lot of folks out there have done a great job at that. And so, in that process of accumulation, they overlook what the distribution strategies need to be on those portfolios. Now, let's face it, traditional retirement accounts, they can create this thing we call a tax trap, where withdrawals are taxed as ordinary income. I see this quite often. Folks get ready to retire, they haven't quite paid off their house yet, or they have a few, car loans still they want to get paid off. So what do? They say, well, I'm going to take an extra 75 grand out right now to pay off my house or my car, whatever it is. And then all of a sudden they do their tax return and find out, oh my gosh, I owe a fortune in taxes. And so that's where tax planning comes into the process. We don't want anybody to get blindsided by taxes. The other thing we see is higher withdrawals to cover those taxes can then push you into higher tax brackets and just exasperating the whole situation. So with growing national debt, tax rates could increase in the future. Now, we did get some relief, right? We thought they were going to go up at the end of 2025, but we got some relief with the big, beautiful bill. It extended those tax cuts for a while. And so that's great news. But let's don't waste that opportunity, right? So, because we don't know, they're going to have to go up eventually because of the national debt continue to go. Being tax diversified is important. We need to have some money in Roth where we're tax free, some money in tax deferred. It all works together if you plan properly.
And can you go into maybe a little more detail about tax diversification? Why is that so valuable for retirees?
Well, because think about it, back before Roth IRAs, everybody put in all their money in 401ks or in IRAs. So when they got ready to retire, nothing had any taxes paid on it. So when they got ready to retire, the only place they really had to take money, because that's where they forced all their savings, is they didn't have any place to take money from that wasn't going to be taxable. And that tax on that account then made more of their Social Security taxable. And it was a rolling stone that just kept going and going. Now we've got this thing called a Roth IRA. And even within folks' 401k, a lot of times they'll have a Roth bucket that they can use. And I encourage you, if you're in the 22% bracket or less, I would definitely be putting my money in the Roth part of the 401k. Yeah, granted, it's not going to save you anything in taxes, but taxes can be so much higher down the road. That's the tax deferral, right? Is diversification is how much do I have in Roth? How much do I have in tax deferred? And then how much do I have in non-qualified? That means I'm going to pay the tax as I go. I'm going to pay the tax on the capital gains, the dividends, all those things as they occur. You need all three of those things to put together a good plan.
I'll tell you something. I honestly did not know, Phillip, that Social Security benefits, they might be taxable, and also Medicare premiums could increase based on people's income, and a lot of other people are surprised by that as well. How can strategic withdrawals help minimize these additional costs?
Well, I'll be honest. Sometimes it's not avoidable. I've seen it where it's not avoidable, right? I remember the very first time I dealt with this issue called IRMA. That's where your Medicare premiums go up. And a tax client of mine had sold a huge piece of property and had like a $800,000 profit on this piece of property. And, all of a sudden her Social Security check went down by like $600. And she's like, what happened?
It's a big jump.
And yeah. And we had to go dig in and say, look, your income was well over the IRMA amount. So for the next year, guess what? You get to pay higher premiums on your Medicare Part B premium. So it caught her by surprise, as it catches a lot of people by surprise. Thankfully, though, Stephanie, what we are seeing now is that more people are cognizant of the issue. And so they're asking some questions, and more professionals are asking the right questions to make sure that we're doing the right planning for folks. And that's a good thing. And that's, again, part of our core retirement design is to do that tax planning, to have that plan in place. If I'm going to sell something big, what's it going to affect? And just know we may have to deal with that down the road. Would love to sit down with you. Again, it's 30 minutes. Ask your questions. I'll be happy to answer them. 863-877-1188. That's 863-877-1188.
You are listening to the Statler Financial Radio Show. I'm Stephanie Griffin, and I am sitting with Phillip Statler of Statler Financial Services, and he is the founder and president of Statler Financial. You can give him a call. Let me mention that number again. You can even text VISIT to this number and get your free consultation, 863-877-1188. That again is 863-877-1188. Phillip, what is the first step someone could take if they want to explore creating a more tax-efficient retirement plan?
Well, I think the first thing is you have to know where you are right now, right? So it's like the other day, I met with some folks that have a rather large IRA. And so now what do we do? What's the plan? Because if we wait until RMD time, the RMDs are going to be huge. That's the required minimum distribution. That's the amount the IRS says you have to take out every year. And if they wait, that number is going to be huge, and it's going to make basically 85% of their Social Security taxable. It's just going to create a huge bill.
Right.
So we have an opportunity now, while they're still in a relatively low tax bracket, to do what we call take advantage of those tax brackets. Let's max out that 12% tax bracket, or let's max out the 22% tax bracket. If we think they're going to be in a 22% tax bracket down the road, let's max out the 22% tax bracket, because the likelihood 10 years from now is that they'll be, if they have to take RMDs, they're going to be in a higher tax bracket than 22%. So that's going to be the key, is looking at those circumstances and putting together a plan on how we're going to take advantage of our IRA. How are we going to convert to Roth? How are we going to take advantage of the tax brackets? And just, that's what we do. That's what we plan for in our core retirement design.
Now, we've been talking about the retirement tax strategies that people should be doing. How often should people review those strategies? Because the tax code, it seems like it's constantly changing.
Yes, we did, because, we think, early this year, what were we all preaching? Early in 2025, we were preaching, the end is coming, right? The tax brackets are going to go up back to what they were prior to the Trump tax law change. And so we were all looking at Roth conversions and what can we do, because people are going to pay a lot more taxes in 2026. And what happened? They came in, they passed a bill that extended those tax cuts and added us some more benefits for the next 4 or 5 years. So you never know, because it could be the exact opposite, right? They can be, hey, look, we got to pay down debt. let's jack tax rates up.
Right.
So we got 5 more years that we can take advantage of converting these IRAs to Roths, which to me, we need to look at. Everybody needs to take the opportunity to look at that. And we need to look at that on a regular basis. I mean, for my clients that we're doing Roth conversions, it's an annual event that we look at and say, okay, what's happened this year? Did you sell anything big? Can we still make the Roth conversion work? Maybe we can't do 40,000. Maybe we can only do 15,000 this year. But what is that number? What can we do to take advantage of this whole tax bracket? Let's max it out and take advantage of it. So again, when we look at that, that's the thing. You're right. The tax code changes all the time. And we've got to play the game with the rules we have at the time. And right now, we got some extensions that we need to work on and take advantage of these extended lower tax brackets. And again, let me just remind you, our core retirement design looks at 3 key areas of retirement. It looks at the risk in your portfolio that mitigates some of the ups and downs you may see. It's a tax plan where we look at how can we pay the least amount of taxes possible for not just you, your spouse, but also your beneficiaries. Think about this for a minute real quick. If something happens and one of the spouses dies, now our tax brackets automatically go up because now we have to file single.
God, how scary that would be when that surprises you and you're still mourning.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And then the third leg of that core retirement design is designing that income plan that's going to give you the income you need in retirement. Give us a call at 863-877-1188. That's 863-877-1188 to schedule your core retirement analysis.
All right, Phillip, sounds good to me. And we would love you to call him once again, 863-877-1188. Sit down and talk to Phillip Statler about your retirement and any questions you may have. He'd be happy to answer them for you. When we return, we'll explore specific tax-efficient strategies that can help you keep more of your hard-earned retirement savings, including Roth conversion opportunities and ways to help prepare for your future tax changes. Stay tuned. We've got more of the Statler Financial Radio Show on the way.
Needing a second opinion on your retirement plan or to see if you're paying more than your fair share to Uncle Sam? Schedule your complimentary visit today. Text VISIT to 863-877-1188. That's VISIT to 863-877-1188.
Surprise parties can be fun.
Surprise!
Financial surprises, not so much. Especially when you're retired, like finding out you owe more in taxes than you thought you would, or having to go back to work to make ends meet. Maybe you'll be okay, but why not double check just to be sure? Call Phillip Statler at Statler Financial Services and schedule a no-cost retirement double check at 863-877-1188. Phillip and his team have seen their fair share of surprises over the years and know how to help you avoid them. Call 863-877-1188 to schedule your no-cost retirement double check with Phillip Statler at Statler Financial Services. Don't let a financial surprise derail your retirement dreams. Call 863-877-1188 now. That's 863-877-1188. You can also visit StatlerFinancial.com for more info. Advisory services are offered through Second Half Financial Partners, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
Welcome back to the Statler Financial Radio Show with founder and president of Statler Financial Services, Phillip Statler. Thank you so much for listening to us today. The prospect of retirement brings excitement and concern for many Americans. Building your nest egg is very important, but those taxes on withdrawals can really impact how long your money lasts. So what specific actions can listeners take today to create a more tax-efficient retirement strategy, Phillip?
Well, I think that the strategies are out there. It's just making them work for you. And here's probably the key. You have to be willing to pay some tax up front, to save more taxes in the back. And that can be hard for people to grasp, right?
Right.
So the first step is evaluating your current mix of accounts across the different tax treatments that are out there. What do we have in Roth? What do we have in traditional? What do we have that's neither one, non-qualified, not retirement accounts? We need all three to put things together so that you have the best opportunity. So once we look at that, then we want to consider strategic Roth conversions during years when you might be in a lower tax bracket. And that's singling out different years. It's not a one and done deal. So for some reason, people think that. I have some clients, we do $10,000 a year, convert from traditional to Roth. Other clients, we do $25,000 or $40,000 a year. So everybody's different, and that's why you have to go through the planning process. You need to plan for required minimum distributions before they become mandatory. I did a review with a client this year, and she turns 73 next year, meaning she has to start taking money out for her required minimum distributions. And she done a little homework. She said, Phillip, since the tax rates are low, maybe we should do some Roth conversions this year before I have to start taking my required minimum distribution next year.
Oh, wow.
I said, absolutely. Let's look at that.
Yeah.
We scheduled another appointment. I'm putting together the numbers now to see, how much can she put into a Roth and still stay in that 12 to 22% tax bracket because, well, she lives in one of those high states too. So she's going to pay some high state income tax. So we really want to look to see how that's going to affect her. But again, it's the planning process. It's being cognizant of the fact that everything's sitting in her traditional IRA, and she knows the amount of money she's got to pull out and pay taxes on is huge. Now, the other thing people don't want to talk about, or they do, but they don't understand how to do it yet, or a lot of advisors don't deal with it. There's a lot of strategies for folks out there that are charitably minded, especially once you pass that 70.5 marker. Things called QCDs, qualified charitable distributions, that you can use your IRA to fund your charitable endeavors. It's a huge thing that can save you big amounts in taxes. Some people just don't want to deal with it, though. I don't get it, but everybody's different, right?
That's why you're here. You can help him out, right? Help him out. Definitely give Phillip a call. 863-877-1188 is the number. And Phillip, talk a little bit more about Roth IRAs and some of the considerations for adopting an optimal conversion strategy. We want the most, don't we?
Absolutely. And so let's remember, what is a Roth IRA? A Roth IRA is an IRA that you put money into, but you do not get a tax deduction for that contribution. The benefit is it grows tax-free forever, and you never have to take money out unless you want to. There's no required minimum distributions. So the other way, people will say, well, Phil, but I don't work anymore. I can't put money into a Roth. You can. It's called a Roth conversion. And that's where you take money from your traditional IRA and you convert it to a Roth IRA. Now, that is a taxable event. You're going to have to pay tax on the money that you convert from the traditional to the Roth. Now, I'll be honest, I have some clients that are really lucky. They're in a 0% tax bracket. We're able to keep them in a 0% tax bracket, and they do the conversion and pay no tax. Now, that's a very slim margin, Stephanie, very slim margin, okay, of people that can do that. But there's a lot of folks out there that can do that and stay in a 10% tax bracket or 12% tax bracket.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So, but there's things you need to remember. I think we talked about it. One of the other segments is you have to be careful. This thing called IRMA. And that's when you convert too much of your IRA to a Roth at one time, and you trigger higher Medicare premiums. So the year after you do that, Social Security says, you owe us more money. So they start taking out a lot more money from your Social Security check. If you're not prepared for that, you'll think, man, did I really mess up when I did that? But even when you take that into consideration, sometimes it makes sense to go ahead and do those conversions.
The first step is to give Phillip a call for sure. We want you to reach your financial goals. Give Phillip Statler a call right now at 863-877-1188. That number again is 863-877-1188. You're listening to the Statler Financial Radio Show. And Phillip, how do you help people develop tax-efficient withdrawal strategies? So everybody is different. How do you tailor it to a specific situation?
Well, that's where we look at our income planning, right? Is putting together the income plan. That's the deal right there is where is money going to come from? And what happens occasionally will be we've got a plan in place and something happens, right? There's always something, especially in Florida. Hurricane comes through. Well, Phillip, I need an extra $25,000 to fix something. Okay. Well, that wasn't in our plan. Let's figure out the best way to handle that. And so we look at a couple of different scenarios and come up with the best alternatives we can. And that's the key. So often I talk with people and they say, I asked my financial advisor, I need some money out of my IRA. He didn't ask a question. He didn't make any suggestion. He just sent me the money. And now I owe this huge amount in taxes. And so I think that's the key, is making sure that people are really looking at and being conscious of the tax implications. They just say, gross it up. Gross it up. I need $20,000. Gross it up to $25,000. That'll take care of the taxes. Well, maybe there's another way. Maybe there's a better way. It's just understanding the process, understanding the tax consequences and how the taxes work to put together maybe a better plan that accomplishes the same thing in the process. And so I think that's the key. And again, Stephanie, when I work with somebody, we work through our core retirement design. And remember, that's 3 specific categories. We look at how much risk do you have in your portfolio, and does it really match up with the amount of risk you want in your portfolio? Somebody will say, well, I'm moderate. Well, what does moderate mean? Can you handle a 20% decline in your portfolio and be okay? So those are the things you have to look at.
Yeah, everybody's different.
Everybody's different. Yes. Step 2, looking at the tax consequences of where you are. How can we minimize that tax, not just for you, but for your beneficiaries, right? Because they're going to be in a much higher tax bracket than you are usually. And so we need to look at those rules and make sure that we're doing what's best for our entire family. And then lastly is obviously the income planning. We've got to have an income plan. We've got to have a map to follow, a plan to get us to where we need to be. And that's what the income plan does. It gives us a track to run off of. Folks, look, it's that simple. Give us a call. We'd love to help you work through it. 863-877-1188. That's 863-877-1188.
And we aren't finished yet. More of the Statler Financial Radio Show is coming up.
Do you have a retirement plan but would like a second opinion? Call Phillip Statler today, 863-285-3815. Statler Financial Services, 863-285-3815.
Surprise parties can be fun.
Surprise!
Financial surprises, not so much. Especially when you're retired, like finding out you owe more in taxes than you thought you would, or having to go back to work to make ends meet. Maybe you'll be okay, but why not double check just to be sure? Call Phillip Statler at Statler Financial Services and schedule a no-cost retirement double check at 863-877-1188. Phillip and his team have seen their fair share of surprises over the years and know how to help you avoid them. Call 863-877-1188 to schedule your no-cost retirement double check with Phillip Statler at Statler Financial Services. Don't let a financial surprise derail your retirement dreams. Call 863-877-1188 now. That's 863-877-1188. You can also visit statlerfinancial.com for more info. Advisory services are offered through Second Half Financial Partners, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Welcome back to the Statler Financial Radio Show with founder of Statler Financial, Phillip Statler, and we really appreciate you tuning in today. I'm Stephanie Griffin. We are getting ready to put Phillip in the hot seat. We've got pressing questions from you, the listener, and we appreciate you letting us know. Any questions you may have, you can definitely email, go online, call, whatever you'd like to do, and we will ask Phillip these. Are you ready to go, Phillip?
I guess I'm as ready as I'm going to be, Stephanie.
I know you'll do great on this. Okay, Phillip, first question. How can I help make sure my savings last through my entire retirement?
I think that is a good question, and I wish more people would think about that when they head into retirement. It's having a written retirement income plan in place. If it's in writing, it's more likely going to happen that way, as opposed to what I call shooting from the hip. Having that plan gives you more confidence in your retirement outlook. And I've seen people enjoy their retirement. It takes that uncertainty out and just gives them a better perspective on retirement as a whole.
What strategies can help me deal with market downturns when I'm retired?
Well, let's talk about strategies and downturns in the market. If you listen to my show much at all, you know that I'm a big believer when it comes to diversification. And not just the pie chart that you see on your statement. The first round of diversification needs to be that diversification between what is protected, meaning it cannot go down in value, versus market risk in the stock market. We need both. The question is, how much do we need in both? And that comes down to a couple factors. One that I like to look at is what we call the rule of 100. Minus your age from 100, that is a rough amount of what you should have at risk. So if you're 90 years old, that's going to leave you 10, right?
Right.
So 10% is what you would want invested in the market. Now that's just a starting point. For some people, it may be more. For some people, it may be less, depending upon their outlook and what their risk tolerance is as a whole. But first, everybody has to make that first determination. What percentage do I want safe? What percentage do I want in the market?
Phillip, you've been in the financial business. It's been over 20 years. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah,
right.
That's great. And if you'd like to be in good hands, call Phillip and his team at 863-877-1188. That's 863-877-1188. And sit down and talk to him about your retirement. We are doing questions today with Phillip, and we're kind of getting to know him a little bit better, but also we're getting his financial knowledge as well. How can I figure out how much I can safely withdraw from my nest egg each year, Phillip?
Well, that's a good question. There's the old-fashioned 4% rule, which a lot of people use. I've read a couple articles lately that, in the back a couple years ago, that they actually said if you really run the numbers, it should be 2.8%. I've seen a recent study that came out, and I think it said 3.2% is really what, if you have everything in the stock market, you can take 3.2%. But I think that the best way is to put together a conservative-based income plan. And when I say conservative, I mean you figure that, the market may make 5 or 6% a year. Now, we know historically it's done better than that. But if I use lower conservative numbers and it works, then I know it'll definitely work if it makes more money than that, right? It's just we can bonus out money here and there for folks. So that's really what I look at is putting the numbers on paper and therefore creating that plan that people can know, here's how much I can pull out.
Now, life is about balance, I guess. So, Phillip, what are some ways to balance growth and preservation in my portfolio?
again, it comes down to everybody's different, right? How much growth they can handle. I recently had a conversation with a client who is getting close to that required minimum distribution phase of her life next year. And she said, Phil, I don't need the money. So what are we going to do with that money? I said, well, we'll open another account and we'll put it into that account. She says, I don't need it. So I think for that bucket of money, we can be a little bit more aggressive with that bucket of money because I wasn't planning on having it anyway. So it depends on, everybody's different. And so it depends on their outlook and their current circumstances as to what that looks like. But initially, right, we're going to look at that rule of 100 as a starting point. And it may be, hey, you're 65 years old. That means maybe 35% should be in the market. But that's like I said, it's not a hard and fast number. Maybe, because of your risk tolerance, it shouldn't be 35. Maybe for you, it needs to be 45 or 50%. And so everybody's different. And so we don't pigeonhole anybody. We're going to walk through our process to determine what that number should be for them based on their values and based on their risk tolerance. Again, Stephanie, that's all kind of what we build in to our core retirement design, because we want people to really be able to focus on their retirement and have that retirement they always dreamed of. Folks, to get started, it's simple. Give us a call, 863-877-1188. That's 863-877-1188 to spend 30 minutes with me to get all your questions answered.
And you can also text VISIT for that free consultation as well to that same number, 863-877-1188. And you are listening to the Statler Financial Radio Show. We're going to take a few minutes. It's our lightning round, and we're going to help probably me more than some of your listeners to get to know you a little bit better. You have 2 minutes, and I want you to answer as many questions as you can. We're doing Think Fast. Are you ready for this? We're going to start the time.
Yes, I'm as ready as I'm going to be.
Okay, well, let's see what we have for you here. First question, what's the best vacation you've ever taken?
Yeah, Stephanie, I've been fortunate. I've had some great vacations, but the one that really sets me apart was the second time we went to Hawaii. We were able to bring our kids. And so our kids came over, and then I had an uncle and a cousin that met us over there. And so we spent about 10 days with everybody. My kids were there for about 2 weeks total, and then we sent them away, and then Joyce and I had an event to go to where we spent another 5 days. So that was probably my best because it was really the first big vacation I was able to take my kids on.
That is so nice, and it's beautiful there. I've been there, and it's just lovely. It's very pretty. What food could you eat every single day? That's a hard one.
This may sound a little bit different, but if it's the right coleslaw, I could eat coleslaw probably every day.
Really? I don't think I've heard that answer before. Somebody must make some really good coleslaw. Does your wife make coleslaw? Is she the one?
My grandmother, she does, but my grandmother made the best coleslaw.
I love that. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
I have become an early bird.
Yeah? This is a bonus question. Do you drink coffee when you get up in the morning?
I do. Actually, my coffee pot is programmed for 4:10 every morning.
Oh, wow.
And I get up between 4:30 and 5 every morning.
Good for you. I like that. You got to get your day started. What is your favorite movie quote?
I don't have one.
You don't have one?
No, sorry to disappoint you.
That's all right. All right, what's one piece of advice you'd give your younger self? That's a great question.
It is. And I think that would be, hey, whatever you do, you never fail.
Very nice.
You just have to keep trying new ideas to get to where you want to be.
I love that. That's really great. I think we all need advice when we're younger from our older selves. I think that's a great thing. What app on your phone gets the most use?
I'm embarrassed to say this, but I think according to my phone, which tells me every week, social media, so pretty much Facebook, unfortunately, gets probably the most. it shouldn't. I really need to delete that app, but
I think we're all, everybody in our age category looks at that pretty much every day, so you're not the only one. What's your favorite holiday?
I think my favorite holiday is Thanksgiving. I have great memories of both Thanksgiving and Christmas, but Thanksgiving was, I was born in Missouri, and so a lot of times, I've lived here since I was 8, but a lot of times we would go back to Missouri for Thanksgiving. And that was when all my cousins would all be there, and we'd all just have a great time.
A lot of good memories, it sounds like. What job did you want to have as a kid?
I wanted to be a veterinarian.
Awesome.
I didn't like to study. So.
That's funny. So that didn't work, and you changed your mind and decided to become a financial advisor.
So then I wanted to be an attorney, but I didn't want to go to school that long. So I settled on being an accountant, and so that's then I morphed into the whole planning process.
Go-to karaoke song, or do you have one? Do you like to karaoke?
I don't have one.
You don't have one?
I'm not really I can't remember. I think I may have karaoke one time in my lifetime.
Okay, well, I'm going to change that question up then. What is your favorite generation of music? You like the 70s? You like the 80s? What do you like?
I like the 60s and 70s. When I listen to Sirius radio, it's pretty much on the 70s.
Yep, I knew I liked you for a reason, Phillip. What's your favorite way to unwind after a long day? Because I get up so early, by the time I come home, I'm really, especially if it's a work day, I've poured a lot of myself into my clients, making sure and helping them do what needs to happen. So at the end of the day, I'm usually pretty wore out, and I will veg out on the couch and listen to the news. If I'm not barbecuing, a lot of times I'm doing barbecuing. Yeah, I'll probably barbecue a couple times a week. Wow. Well, that was I really enjoyed getting to know you better. Thank you for doing that for us. That was a lot of fun. Thank you for taking time, and make sure you give Phillip a call and his team at Statler Financial Radio Show, 863-877-1188, 863-877-1188. And we will be back next week with Phillip on the Statler Financial Radio Show.
Advisory services offered through Second Half Financial Partners, LLC, a SEC-registered investment advisor. The opinions voiced and information provided in this material are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine what investments are appropriate for you, please consult with a financial advisor. Second Half Financial Partners, LLC does not provide tax or legal advice. Please consult your tax or legal advisor regarding your particular situation. This radio show is a paid placement.
Who likes uncertainty? Wall Street certainly doesn't. With fears of a potential recession and partisan politics, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. What will your future look like? Will your taxes go up? Will your savings go down? Here in the Sebring area, financial advisor Phillip Statler and the team at Statler Financial Services have seen uncertainty come and go. Phillip can help you create a plan designed to preserve your finances in uncertain times. And it's not a matter of if those uncertain times will show up, but when. Call 863-877-1188 now to meet with Phillip Statler and the team at Statler Financial Services. Call 863-877-1188 and schedule your visit today. 863-877-1188. Advisory services offered through Second Half Financial Partners, LLC, a SEC-registered investment advisor. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.